this is our actual topic, which now I can say that F9 has started. So far, we were just warming up. So you've got 3 chapters from working capital. Working capital means receivables and payables and inventories. 3 chapters, approximately 10 to 15% marks in exam. Very important topic. You know that some of our finances, they are stuck or engaged or involved in working capital because we have receivables, our money is stuck there. We have inventories, our money is stuck there. So wherever you have money stuck in, that is your concern. Because if I don't have receivables, I can take out that cash and I can use it somewhere else and earn some benefit. And if you are putting some extra inventories with you, your finances are stuck, your money, your cash is stuck, which means you are losing definitely something. So we need to make a very fine balance between how much receivable we should have, what to do with our receivables. Should we give some discount to our customers to collect money early? What if that I have $100,000 receivable from a customer? What if I tell my customer that instead of giving me 100,000 after 30 days, please give me today and I'll give you 2% discount? Does that make sense or not? This is what we have to calculate, okay? And the same goes with our payables. So your working capital, it actually focuses on investment decisions, how much money you have to invest on working capital, and financing decisions, that where to get money to support your working capital. Working capital, what was the formula for working capital? How do you calculate? Remember from F7?
Current assets minus current liability.
Sorry?
Current assets minus current liability.
Yeah, current asset minus current liability. So when you start a business, you have your total capital 1 million. Out of that 1 million, some of that is engaged or involved in your non-current assets. So you purchase 700,000 worth of non-current assets, some equipment or machinery, and 300,000 you put in your working capital as your cash or inventories or receivable. So your total capital was divided into 2 portions, non-current and current, and that current side is your working capital. So you need to see that how much should I put in my current assets? Should it be 300,000 or maybe 200,000 is enough? Or why not 250,000? And if I have to put 250,000, where do I get this money? How to finance it? So these are the questions we need to focus on. So you already know what is working capital. Now please give me answer. I need answer from you. The first question has come in. How much is the working capital in this case? Yes, Farooq, I'm listening to you. I know you want to give answer. You are dying to give answer.
So we'll take cash also.
Current asset minus current liabilities. This is current asset. This overdraft is current liability. So this minus this. Work in progress is current asset. You plus it. Raw material current asset. You plus. Taxation due in 9 months. Current liability. You minus. Cash on 3-month deposit. This is your asset. You plus. It is in the bank, but it is 3 months. So it is current asset. So 250 plus. Suppliers, they are liability. You minus. So you people should have a calculator in this lesson, and if not a calculator, at least a mobile phone, because we will do a lot of questions together. So 100K, please somebody help me. 100K minus 50K plus 24 plus 30 minus 110 plus 250
244
and minus 120.
124,000. B.
124,000. So let's see our luck, if we are lucky. Yeah, we are lucky. 124,000.
Yes, sir.
So you made all of your current assets. These are your current liabilities, and the difference between current asset and current liabilities is working capital. Yes, Farooq, this is what you wanted to say?
Yes, sir.
Good. You know, I remember I tell you something. There are few things that are very little, very small things, but you remember in all your life. I'm speaking about 1992, 1991. I was doing MBA from Karachi IBA, and I was like young. I was 23 years, and we had one guy in our class who was like 30, let's say 7, 8 years elder than us. So most of us were young. He was a little bit elder, probably 32. But he was very relaxed. We were always very, excited or anxious because we were young. He was a working professional, and he was always sitting at the back, very cool-headed, very relaxed. And we had a lesson which was, I still remember, organizational behavior. And the teacher knew that, so this boy who was elder, his name was Zahid. He was sitting at the back somewhere. And the teacher knew that he is always very relaxed in class, probably not listen very carefully. And the subject was easy, and he was not listening at all. So the teacher suddenly stopped, and he asked him, Zahid, what do you mean by this? So he asked some question from Zahid. And Zahid saw his face and said, sir, this is exactly I wanted to ask you. So I remember his comment that this is exactly I wanted to ask you. So this is exactly what Zahid, what Farooq wanted to tell us, 124,000. Okay, working capital.
Yes, वो मैंने जल्दी में कैलकुलेट की और मेरा आंसर ये 104 आ रहा था, उसमें था ही नहीं.
कभी नहीं जल्दी करनी. We don't do hurry. For short questions, always do very relaxed. This is also I tell you in exam. The things which you know very well, you should always be very careful on them. What we do sometimes make mistake that in exam, those questions which we know that they are easy, we try to do them fast. So what happens that we make mistake in something which is very simple, something which we should have done correct. And difficult things you start thinking. Difficult things you want to go slow. My friend, difficult thing, even if you go slow, you cannot do it because you don't know it. So difficult thing doesn't matter. You do slow, you do fast, no problem. But the easy things, which are your strengths, those things you have to be very careful that at least I don't make mistake in this area because this is what I know. So carelessness, I will not do. Okay, working capital management. Sufficient working capital is essential to the survival of a business, but too much is wasteful and unprofitable. So you should remember that your non-current assets, we call non-current assets as earning assets because non-current assets, they earn money for you. Your current assets, which are mostly stuck in working capital, they don't earn money for you. Like you've got inventory, you've got receivables. If you have 1 million in receivables, it is wasteful because you're not earning anything on that. So therefore, our working capital, we try to keep at a minimum level. Minimum level means whatever is minimum acceptable, which will not harm us. So we try to keep it at a minimum or minimal acceptable level. So this is one of our objectives. The proper level of working capital should therefore be a matter of management policy and control. Generally, the finance director or company treasurer will be responsible for establishing a suitable policy about receivable, payables, and inventories. Cash operating cycle. What is cash operating cycle? So cash operating cycle is that when you get a cash to cash conversion. Cash to cash conversion means that I purchase raw materials today, I give out cash. Then these raw materials will come to my factory in 1 week. So 7 days are gone. I have already given cash on the 1st of November. 7th of November, I receive raw materials and I start my production. 10 days, I will make my production process. So my finished goods are ready on 17th of November. Then I send them to the finished good warehouse and they remain there for another 1 week. So I'm already on 24th of November. And then on 24th of November, I sell these goods to my customer on 30 days credit. So when I'm selling them on 24th of November, the customer will pay me on 24th of December. So I gave out my cash on 1st of November for purchasing raw material. And I get back my cash from my customer on 24th of December. So there are 54 days. So this 54 days is called my cash operating cycle. But there is one more thing which you need to remember, that it is also possible that you get some credit from your supplier as well. Because when I purchase goods on 1st of November, maybe I did not give him cash. Maybe my supplier has given me 15 days credit. So the total period is 54 days. But out of 54 days, 15 days I got credit myself. So 54 minus 15, 39. So now my cash operating cycle is 39 days. It means that I have to provide finances for 39 days. It means that I have to support my operations for 39 days. And in any business, this cash operating cycle, sorry?
Are you typing on Excel?
No, I'm not typing on Excel. Usually when I speak more, I type on Excel, but here I don't.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I thought.
So because there are no numbers. So in any business, cash operating cycle, your target is to decrease. So last year my cash operating cycle was 39 days. I will try and I will think how to reduce it to 35 days. 4 days I went down. So now we come back. Cash operating cycle is the period of time between the point at which cash begins to be spent on producing a product and the collection of cash from a customer. The cash operating cycle is in a manufacturing business equals to the average time that raw materials remain in inventory plus or less the period of credit taken from suppliers plus the time taken to produce goods plus the time the finished goods stay in your inventory and plus the time taken by customers to pay for the goods. So it's very simple, but you definitely will have a question. It is not possible that you appear in F9 exam and you don't face this question. You will definitely get 100%. So that's how it works. You can see the slide. I will put it up on Google Drive. Please calculate what is the length of cash operating cycle. Tell me please quickly. So 87 minus 35, yeah? 15 plus 2, 17 plus 20, 37, 37 plus 50, 87, 87 minus 35.
52 days.
52 days is your cash operating cycle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a very simple question. 2 marks, easy marks. Okay, the longer the cycle, the more funding has to be dedicated to funding working capital. So we don't expect it to prolong it. We try our target, it is one of our goals. It is one of our financial targets to decrease or manage your cash operating cycle because your money is stuck here. So estimate the cash operating cycle length of a supermarket. You know what happens in supermarket? They are very lucky people because they are always surplus in cash. Because what happens that supermarket, they sell goods on cash. So they don't give credit to any customer. Every customer, they pay cash on the counter. But they buy goods on credit. So it means they purchase goods on credit. They have to pay in 30 days. But from customer, they collect money at the same time. So in cash operating cycle of a supermarket, receivables are cash sales. Receivables collection period is 0. Inventory fresh food sold in a few days. Perhaps average inventory is 5 days. Suppliers paid after about 40 days. So you buy the goods, you keep them for 5 days and you get back your money in 5 days. So you get a 35 days negative cycle there. 35 negative because I purchase goods today. Within 5 days, I will sell and I will get my cash. And 35 days, the cash remains with me. 35 days, I use this cash. So my cash is not stuck. In fact, I have surplus cash from my supplier. Now you've got liquidity ratios. You studied them in ACCA F3. You studied them probably in F7. You studied them in university, everywhere. Liquidity ratios. Remember?
Yes, sir.
Current ratio, quick ratio. Do you want me to teach these ratios again?
No, sir.
Farooq? Yeah, anyone who wants? I don't think that we should be spending time on current ratio while learning F9. If we still have to learn current ratio, then we should think about it. We will do it in question actually. So when we will do questions, I'm sure that you people have done it in F3, you have done it in F7. It's simplest, it's the easiest thing. But still, if there is anything which needs to be done, we will do it while doing questions. Okay. Current asset divided by current liabilities. Quick asset divided by current liabilities. And quick asset means current asset minus inventory. Yeah. Account receivable period, inventory turnover period, and accounts payable. Account receivable period means your average receivable days. On average, in how many days your customers they pay you. Account payable period means on average in how many days do you pay to your suppliers. So they come in days, like 47 days. It means my customers, they pay me on average in 47 days. 21 days, which means I pay to my suppliers on average in 21 days. And inventory turnover period, that how many days the inventory remains on your shelf, how many days the inventory remains in your business before it is sold. So current ratio, current asset divided by current liabilities. Usually a ratio of greater than 1 is expected, but it should be 1.5 and 2.5. Let's see this question, please. Current ratio tells us that how much cash we are going to, because what are current assets? Current asset means those assets which will be converted to cash within 1 year. Current assets are those assets which are expected to be converted to cash within 1 year. And current liabilities are those liabilities which we have to pay within 1 year. So it means that this is my cash coming in 1 year, and this is cash going out in 1 year. So see this question. Company A is an engineering company making large steel constructions. Company B owns about 100 apartments which it rents out. So some companies can operate safely on a low current ratio. So, in different businesses, your current ratio requirement is different. If you have very stable cash flows, your cash coming in is not very unexpected, and your cash going out is also not very unexpected. You can survive very safely at a very low current ratio because your business has stable cash flows. But if your business has unstable cash flows, if your business has some bigger projects, unexpected projects, or some unexpected inventories, so in that case you need bigger current ratio because you have to protect yourself against any cash shortages. So now company A is an engineering company which makes large steel construction, so it means huge cash is involved in inventories. Company B owns about 100 apartments which it rents out. So when you own some apartments, you don't have a lot of cash coming in, cash going out. Every month in the very beginning, you collect your rent and you pay the salaries for your maintenance staff who maintains the apartments. You pay some, utility bills, and that's all. So do you think that you need a lot of working capital in company B?
No, sir.
No. So your current ratio, even if it is low, it will work for company B. But for company A, you need to have a higher current ratio because you are involved in large manufacturing, steel manufacturing. So are the following statements true or false? Company A needs to keep a high current ratio. Yes, it is true.
True.
Company B needs to keep a high current ratio. It is false.
False.
So 1 is true and 2 is false. So
B.
answer choices?
B.
B. Quick ratio, which you call acid test ratio. You have done it before. Account receivable days, trade receivable divided by credit sales into 365. This was simple. Inventory turnover period, which means that in how many days you keep the inventory. Average inventory divided by cost of sales into 365. I'm repeating it again. I will put these slides on the Google Drive folder. You can have formulas there. I believe that you know it from past, and that's why I'm not spending a lot of time. When we will do questions, if any explanation is needed, I will explain again, okay? So please allow me not to spend a lot of time on that issue. So what is the difference between these two? Inventory turnover period, it tells you into 365, it is for finished goods. And inventory holding period, it is about raw materials, okay? So it tells me how many days the raw material will stay with us. It tells us how many days the finished goods will stay with us. So here you take finished good inventory. Here you take raw material inventory. And average production period. So it tells us in how many days we, complete our production. Account payable days you have. So same thing, average payables divided by purchases or cost of sales into 365. Okay, Farooq is gone. Then you've got cash life cycle. Okay, one tricky question, and this is the last, and then we will stop. There are many other questions which I will upload, but this you have to figure out. You just read the question, you make something in your mind, and then I will explain. So calculate the length of the cash life cycle. So you have to calculate your cash operating cycle. So you know that cash operating cycle is always in terms of number of days. And here they are telling us in dollars. They don't give us number of days. The data which is given is in dollars, but the answer has to be number of days. So sorry?
We'll take the receivable days, inventory days, payable days, and then we'll add and deduct.
Exactly. You from receivable, and you've got sales, you will make receivable days. You have payables, you have cost of sales, you will calculate your payable days. You have inventory and cost of sales, you will make your inventory days. And then you will add subtract, okay? So there is no need to be confused about the question. It is just playing with the data. So let's see our receivable days. Receivable period is 50,000 divided by 500,000. You see 50 was receivable, 500 was sales. So you get your 36.5 as receivable days. Inventory days you make So inventory divided by cost of sales multiplied by 365, you get your inventory days.
3 days.
Then you have payable days, which mean your purchases divided by your payables. So you find out your into 365, you get your payable days. You add these two and minus, you got 60.8 your cash operating cycle. 2 easy marks in exam.
Yes.
I mean, this can appear as a 2-mark question.
Yes.